Cheers everyone, Womik here. I love SpellForce 1, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't change some things about it. Let's talk about those. Alright, hear me out. The Phenomic SpellForce games are my favourite games of all time, and I still play these games more than 15 years after release. They're fun to me, have an interesting world, and I just enjoy putting more time into them. That being said, as I play them more and more, I can't help but wonder about certain things that I would change, or that I find better if they were done slightly different. Keep in mind that these 10 things I'm going to mention are just my opinion. They aren't the objectively best changes, nor does anyone have to agree with them. I just thought it would be fun to make a video like this and to see what you guys think about it. So without rambling on for too long, here are 10 things I would change about SpellForce 1 in no particular order. Number 1. I would add an offensive and a defensive mode for your avatar and heroes. Nothing too complicated, just a toggle that decides whether my avatar attacks enemies that are close to him by himself or if he only attacks once he's been hit. It's annoying that I always have to click on a new enemy every time I want my avatar personally to attack it, and it's even worse with ranged heroes. I know that there are mods for this, but it sometimes makes your avatar too aggressive, which can also be an issue at times. In any case, this feature was later added in SpellForce 2, so it would be nice to have an option in SpellForce 1 as well, should we ever get a rework. Number 2. I would add ranged weapons for mages. Another thing that I would implement from SpellForce 2, and yeah, a few of these are gonna come from SpellForce 2, if you're playing a pure mage, he's often not the tankiest fella on the map, so I find it annoying that he always wants to frontline. These ranged weapons shouldn't deal a lot of damage, heck, I would even be happy if they did no damage at all as long as they make my mage stay at a certain range from the enemy. But besides that, I feel like it would give a lot more weapon choices for mages. Fire damage staff if you're a fire mage, staff that slightly heals if you're a healer, etc. Number 3. Adding a Westguard-like map. I'm probably not going out on a limb when I say that pretty much everyone likes the Westguard from SpellForce 2. I mean, yeah, SpellForce 3 had the Nexus in Volunteer and all that, but that was more limited than the Westguard was in comparison. With the Westguard, you actually had the feeling of owning a piece of land. You could expand it, place troops to guard it, decide how you want to place the buildings there and all that. Getting something like that in SpellForce 1, perhaps even more extensive and with more options than in SpellForce 2 would be great. I even thought of where it could fit in the Order of Dawn, so if you want a video on that, let me know by writing in the comments and, I'll talk about it. Number 4. Change unit plans to unit runestones. This change doesn't change anything with the gameplay. I just feel like it makes more sense that units, like workers, come from runestones. Plans would make sense if we summoned workers and then sent them to another building to get trained, but we don't. Army units are also summoned just as workers are. It's not a massive change, but a bit more lore friendly in my opinion. Number 5. Add the option for constant companions. What I mean by this is companions other than your rune heroes. Breath of Winter and Shadow of the Phoenix even do that, you just can't control them. And it's fine if you can't change their gear and spells, but it will open a lot of dialogue and character building options that you just don't have with your current rune heroes. And now an extra point, number 5.5, adding you to my subscribers. A lot of you watching aren't subscribed and we're getting close to 1,000, so if you enjoy the content, click the sub button, I always appreciate it. But let's move on to number 6, adding books, letters and more meaningful NPCs. SpellForce 1 sadly doesn't have books or letters in the game which you can read, and I'd love to see those. Something like Skyrim where you can get entire quests connected to them. It will really give room for a lot more lore content, and the same goes for NPCs that you could talk to, get new quests from them that show you certain parts of the world you play in. I think those would be cool. Number 7. More allies and backup. This is already in the game to some extent, but I would love to see more of it. Allies helping you on certain maps actually being useful and sending small troops of their units to support you. Like with number 1 on the list, there are some mods that do this, but again, it would be nice if it were in the vanilla game. Number 8. Change up some of the units. I like the units in SpellForce 1, I think most of them are interesting and useful in one way or another. That being said, I wouldn't mind adding something like mounted units to some races. Not all of them mind you, but humans could have a building where you could breed horses that you can later mount your paladins on. Also, I would replace the Thug from the Orcs with a basic Orc Archer unit. I mean, who even uses this guy? Genuinely can't remember a single time when I used him for my rune armies, and I've played this game a ton. Number 9, I would add a lot of useful backtracking to a lot of the maps. There are areas in SpellForce 1 which you can liberate with your armies, places like the Shield and Leafshade. I would love it if every now and then these places started developing themselves. For example, if you visit Leafshade again after a while, you can see that some elves have settled there again and they've started building a small settlement or some buildings there. If you visit again later, that settlement has become even bigger. The expansion of these places could also be connected to new quests that help the NPCs rebuild. The more quests you do, the bigger the settlement becomes. It would make the world feel less static and actually make you feel as if you'd made an impact in those areas. And finally, number 10. I would adjust neutral and enemy faction colors to fit them. The Black Fist, red. The Red Legion, green. The Briarwolves, red. You get the idea. Just make the colors fit their general theme, fairly simple and to the point. Have the Black Fist be black, for example, like the name suggests. Again, there are mods that do this, but just seeing it in the vanilla game and having it implemented natively would be a great thing to have in my opinion. And those are the 10 things that I would personally change, but what about you? If you change anything, let me know down in the comments what that would be, why you would change it, and also if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, I appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!